Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bronies UK YouTube channel. This is the Bronies UK live chat. Now, yeah, this is happening because we've had a couple of interesting developments with information. Thank you to New York Toy Fair 2019, which was over the last weekend, over the last few days, and there's been a lot of new toy releases been going all over the internet, covering all sorts of different toy lines and adult collectibles, etc. And one of those things that was mentioned was obviously My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and also the future of the series of Friendship is Magic, and also the possible movie that's coming out in 2021. So hopefully we're going to be joined by my good friend Lawrence, who is also a good honourable member of the Bronies UK. Because obviously there's only a couple of us that are, well, there's only me, Lawrence, and Sam that are actually a part of this whole thing, to an extent. Hopefully, my fellow co-host Sam will probably be joining us as well as we go along. But yeah, please by all means check out the live feed and get involved if you so wish. I will get it up now so that I know what's going on, and any crappy, stupid messages will be blocked and will be destroyed, or taken off, should I say, not destroyed, because that's not what this is about. Right. I think I've got sound and everything, so hopefully I'm coming over nicely, which is the main thing, I suppose. Hey, so here's Sam, the first one here.
Millsy.
All right, man. Just waiting on Lawrence. Hopefully he's going to pop on with us. I was just letting people know that, well, we're not going to talk about it yet. We're going to wait till all three of us are present, and then we'll get on with it. But just filling people in that we're talking about the news that we got from New York Toy Fair 2019. That's what we're going to be mainly talking about. And whatever else we want to talk about regarding the ponies.
I've got a bit of info, actually, on that subject, which, as soon as Lawrence joins us, I will share with you both. Came across it earlier today. It's worth mentioning.
Cool. I think slowly as things are progressing, I think we're putting might get stuff maybe weekly the way it's going, because it was actually quite quick to find out that it's no longer going to be a sequel movie and all that stuff. But anyway, like I said, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's wait. I don't know. It should be coming on soon. Hopefully, if he's not, his connection isn't playing up for him again. So, while we're waiting on Lawrence, how have you been?
Not bad. Same as, really. But I just going to say this because this is a Brony UK, so I'm just going to say this because I just want to send a quick message out to every single Brony out there, every fan of the franchise, every Pegasister, everyone. I've got to say this right now. Please don't start thinking that the fan base is going to die because of season 9 being the final season. Fan bases don't drop dead because a franchise finishes. Seriously, people. I can guarantee you this time next year, we were all still going to be here. We're all still going to be the fan base. And there are plenty of fan bases out there which are still going even years after whatever series ended. So don't start panicking and think that, come the end of the year, the fan base will just pack it in. It won't. If you're a fan of something, you don't stop being a fan because the series ends. So seriously, people, don't panic. Plus, we don't know what is in store. We don't know what is coming after Friendship is Magic. We do not know yet what Gen 5 will be. But watch this space, because you can guarantee Hasbro will be revealing all this year. Because, I mean, in the last 24 hours, quite a bit of information has been revealed. And as I said, once Lawrence joins us, there's something I want to discuss. It's only brief information, but it's worth mentioning.
Cool. Hopefully he should be coming on very soon. I don't know what's keeping him. He's just text me. I sent the link, and I sent the link as a group message. Because Lawrence has got 2 accounts. He's got his normal account and he's got his like Attaku Solo account on Facebook. So I've figured him both. So yeah, so like Sam was saying there, there's plenty of interesting information. I mean, I've not been looking into it massively. Obviously, Sam's found something more out that maybe I'm not aware of at the moment. But for what we are aware of, the future, we finally know, legitimately confirmed by Hasbro, what the future will be. Season 9 is the last season of the series. We do have a theatrical movie coming in 2021, but now it looks interesting that it's going to be a prequel movie, not a sequel, and possibly could be a standalone. That's as far as I know.
This is pure speculation, but I'm thinking of the possibility as to whether or not the film's coming in like literally 2 years from now, whether or not this will be the bridge. If it will be the gap, the bridge in the gap, as if this will be what will probably kickstart Gen 5, because it's not been said whether on. Obviously, it's not a sequel to the 2017 film. That's been confirmed. So I don't think it would be a prequel, because I just don't think that would really make sense. Lawrence is here.
There's Lawrence.
Hello.
Hey, Lawrence.
How are you?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. Well, as you probably know, we're all here tonight to discuss the
end of my friendship.
Yes, we're here to discuss it. Right, gentlemen. I want to start this. I have some information which I want to share with you both and the world if you're watching. This was announced a few hours ago, and this is official from Equestria Daily. And this information came from one of the main producers and writers of MLP, Mike Vogel. You've probably all heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this to say regarding Season 9. So, guys, listen up. I think Season 9 of MLP Friendship is Magic might be up there with some of the best seasons. So much awesome, and I love how it all wraps up. Working at MLP has been one of the high points of my career, and I'm proud to be part of this epic season. So get ready and get excited. There's also another tweet which basically says that the 200th episode, which will be episode 5 of Season 9, there's a lot of... There's big. Basically, what they've got planned for episode 5 is big. They've hinted at returning characters who haven't been seen in ages, some special song that's going to be in that episode. There's kind of a lot of hints as to what that episode is going to be about, but they've heavily implied look out for characters who have not been seen in a long time who will be in this episode. So that sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, it does. So, now that we're all here, obviously Sam's just give us a bit more information on from one of the writers there. But so, guys, what are we all thinking about? What are our feelings about its finally wrapping up? Well, at least Frenchman Magic.
It's sad because it's clearly been such a phenomenon for the past, 7 years now, and well, nearly 9 years, isn't it? It started in 2010. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, tomorrow I'm going to watch more of season 6. That'll give me something to do while I'm waiting for my next video to upload. So I'm 5 episodes into it, so then I'll try and get hold of season 7 and 8.
Oh, it's like anything, lads. I mean, let's be honest. There were rumours circulating. Now, what's interesting is some of these rumours from the leaks were slightly correct, although not quite within the timestamp. I mean, obviously, the next MLP film, the leaks said it would be next year. It's not. It's the year after. However, Hasbro, as we know, have not said whether or not it's a prequel. But as we know, it's not a sequel. It could well be a standalone film, or it could be.
It's actually going to be
Gen 5.
They said it's going to be like CGI animation, not a 2D animation film.
Yeah, they have said that. I know some people are some people have taken that on a basis that it might not be. There's concerns as to whether or not it'll look cheap. But don't forget, the 2017 film was that anyway. It was CGI animation mixed with a bit of traditional.
It was,
yeah, so it might be more like that, more of an updated version of that. It is too early to really tell what the film will be like. I don't think they'll screw it up because I think it will be the final bit of MLP as we all know it.
Yeah.
The question is. Because here's some things that I think season 9, since it's the last season, has to cover. Right? Number 1, they have to finish up Chrysalis's story arc. Because she's the last of the original villains who's still around. 2, I want to know who Spike's parents are and who Scootaloo's parents are. 3, and I think this needs to be done. I want Celestia's evil side, as it Dawnbreaker or Daybreaker. I want her to come out. I actually want Celestia to go evil, and I want Twilight have to actually banish her, because I think that would be a really good thing to do. That would be, in a way, to complete Twilight's journey.
That makes Twilight the main princess, so she's in charge of it.
Yeah, exactly, Lawrence, exactly. And I think that'll be a good. I mean, yeah, it might be a bit dark, but I think that'd be the perfect way to finish Twilight's story. Because in a lot of ways that would work. I generally think that this finale of season 9, although I would say I think it needs to incorporate everything, and I think it needs to also say thank you to the fan base, because the reason this franchise has lasted so long, and don't forget, it's outlived itself by 6 seasons. It was originally going to end at season 3, and because of the Brony fan base, it didn't. So I think, in a way, the franchise needs to say thank you to the fans at the end of it all. I think it's important that it does that in some way.
I think they will. I think Hasbro kind of had a bit of a shocker when they realised, because apparently when it first started, the viewership wasn't that great for the first 3 seasons. It was okay, but it was mainly kids, mainly little girls, that kind of demographic that were mainly watching it. Then it kind of got to, you could kind of say that obviously through 4chan and things like that, the Brony thing was starting to kind of start up. And then from season 3 ending, all of a sudden it just blew up after it's finished there in season 3. And then from then on, as Sam says, it just became ridiculous. And then Hasbro were kind of forced to kind of make a 4th season. And obviously, I think the Brony fandom influenced and really made the 2017 movie actually happen, or the 2018 movie actually happen.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong, it was a great film, and I'm really proud. I'm really happy that that's how I was introduced properly into the franchise.
Yeah.
It's a great story, great animation, great music. You know, everything about it. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that a lot of new people came into it through the movie. A lot of people were surprised by how good it actually was, regardless of what critics said, because obviously, you know, critics are going to say they don't like it because of the fan base behind it. They don't like it. People on the outside looking in think it's just a ridiculous thing, and all sorts of horrible things have been said about the fan base.
They mentioned in those two quite popular documentaries that focus on the Brony fan base.
Yeah. So you got two. You got one that follows Ashley Ball, and then you've got another one that follows, I think, Tara Strong.
Yeah.
I can't remember now, but there's two, and it follows two different voice actresses, and the one with that follows Ashley Ball is actually my favourite because it's actually documenting her going back and forth to the studio when it was like the fair. I think they did that with season 2, so I think she was currently working on season 2 of the show, and so it kind of documents her going back and forth, and it also documents her first ever BronyCon.
Yeah.
And her first ever convention and pretty much just seeing her reaction of like, holy crap, I didn't realize it was this big. And then pretty much history was made. And so yeah, I mean, yeah, those two documentaries are very good because they tell it from the fans' perspective, but they're telling it well. I think one's from the fans' perspective, but I think one's from like someone from the outside looking in, and they kind of talk to like psychologists.
That's kind of how when the BBC did their report on it, you know, when it caught up in the UK, saying, you know, oh
yeah, we don't talk. We don't. Yeah, basically the BBC kind of made that young lad, that young guy, pretty much that was a Brony. It kind of made. The way that they went about it kind of made that person out to be like a weirdo. There was a lot of criticism from the fan base of how BBC actually fingered it. I don't know, but anyway, so yeah, there's been some horrible things said about the fan base, and it's not true. I mean, you know, end of the day, we are just a bunch of but for the most part, the Bronies thing are grown men. Probably from between 18 to, say, 30 years old, maybe a little bit over that, depending. But that is kind of the demographic of the Brony fandom, is from 18 up to about, I'd say 18 up to about 30. That kind of age groups. And, I can grant you from, you know, if you're looking in from the outside, looking in, it is an interesting and very weird kind of idea of grown men watching ponies, pretty much. But at the end of the day, it is a cartoon series, just like Batman is, just like Powerpuff Girls. I mean, how many boys watched Powerpuff Girls back in the day, and no one blinks an eye at it?
Yeah, I watched. I watched Powerpuff Girls. I watched Sailor Moon. I watched Princess Starla. You know, so I watched all those shows, popular. You know, the target audience, female. It was.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, the problem is, right, that Powerpuff Girls was mainly supposed to be kind of like directed at girls, because obviously it's Powerpuff Girls. It's like three strong female characters that fight crime. And it was mainly kind of targeted at the female demographic again. But yet, because you had all these really great villains, you had Mojo Jojo, you had the Gangrene Gang, you had all these different, you know, interesting villains, and all these other characters around the Powerpuff Girls, like, you know, Professor Utonium and all that lot. And it become one of those universal shows where
and the mayor. You remember the mayor? The mayor was a very funny character.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, it became a very diverse show because it was, you know, it had elements where boys could enjoy it as well.
Yeah, it did.
And to be honest, if you just come back to now with My Little Pony, there's literally no fucking difference. I mean, so sorry for swearing.
Exactly. I mean, I mean, it's not as action orientated, maybe as Powerpuff Girls was. I mean, but the movie had like a very good action element to it. You know, the battle at the end with Storm King and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no,
yeah,
I know
there are action elements in MLP, but they're just maybe not as fluent as some of the other shows that we've talked about.
There is a couple of instances where the characters have to go up against the villain and have to defeat the villain. And there is kind of like a spot, like a duel, so to speak, kind of between whoever they're having to kind of reformat into good again, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know where you're coming from. I mean, Powerpuff Girls was mainly fighting, battling, kind of centric. But end of the day, there's not just My Little Pony isn't as centered as that. It's a bit more grounded, I would say. It's a little bit more grounded. But the whole idea and principal point of My Little Pony is that it's about friendship. It's like be there for your friends. It's a great message for not just for kids, but even for us adults that forget sometimes that values. And it teaches kids and teaches everyone that watches it values, and that is what really draws me to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, because it teaches kids and everyone all the values of friendship and also kind of being loyal to your friends, loyal to those that you love. Also kind of got strong characters.
There's messages regarding things like the bullying, about and all the things that kids and teenagers and adults can relate to.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It breaks boundaries because, okay, they are a bunch of anthropomorphic ponies, animated ponies, and they all happen to be all girls from the main roster, except for Spike, obviously. But obviously he's a dragon. But it might be that from the outside looking in, but a lot of people do not see the richness when it comes to the story, character development, and for me, I just absolutely love the art style. I've never really seen anything quite like it when it comes to the art, because it's so vibrant, in your face, but it doesn't kind of. It's not like Adventure Time, where Adventure Time was pretty much like you were tripping on LSD for the whole 25 minutes. But no, there's no problem. It's great. I mean, it's a great cartoon, great series, and those of you out there probably watching this, don't feel don't feel that you are strange or weird or anything like that for liking My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Don't listen to the idiots. You like it, that's the main thing, and stick with it. Don't listen to anyone else on the outside. That's the main thing. The main thing is that you like it and you enjoy it. That's it. But pretty much to answer the question, there's kind of like what do I think about it ending? It's a shame. It is a shame. But at the end of the day, I would have liked maybe a 10th season, just to kind of make it all nice and square.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I think they're running low maybe on ideas, or is it they just want to change the demographic a bit?
I don't think it's to do with running out of ideas. I think it's mainly, it could be as simple as people, because most of the people that work on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic are actually contracted artists and people that are in the industry. They're not employed.
They're not being paid fairly, and think, why should I stay on for another series?
No, I doubt it's that, mate. It's to be frank, I think it's just a case. To be frank, I think Hasbro. I mean, I'm just going to say how I think this, but I actually think Hasbro are doing the right thing. Because I've been looking around, obviously, this morning and this evening before and after work, and a lot of people are actually, in a way, saying that at least from the perspective I'm seeing, I do understand this. There are actually a lot of people do think, you know what, ending it on a 9th season is probably a good idea, because the last thing we want is for it to start to get stale and to outlive itself.
Exactly. So they don't want to keep it going for so long until it just loses interest. Like, make sure they end it while it's at the top and not wait for it to die down. And that makes sense.
One of the things that I think is worth mentioning, and by all means, if anybody knows anything, feel free to comment here, but The Simpsons, it's still ongoing. It's been going now for, what, 30 years? And the question is there, does anybody even watch The Simpsons anymore?
Well, no, because I love the episodes I grew up with, like in the 90s, but the new ones really are not that good.
Well, apparently, from what I've heard regarding The Simpsons, they make money purely off the box set, because apparently nobody really watches it anymore. They just buy the box sets when they get released. So apparently that's kind of what they do now. They just release the box sets and they don't really show it on telly much. And
yeah,
it's a good thing that MLP never went down that route.
Yeah.
Well,
they'll always make money off of Friendship is Magic one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, like I was trying to say was, when I said about staff, is that most of the staff that are working on it are contracted out from outside of Hasbro. Like, they're kind of contracted in, and then it's a mixture of those that work for Allspark Studios or DHX Media, and people that are kind of brought in from the outside because of, you know, the big workload when it comes to the series. So it is quite an expensive endeavor for Hasbro to keep going, but like, they're keeping it going because it's profitable. But yeah, I mean, like Sam was saying there, it is mainly down to that they don't want it to get stale. They don't want to they don't want it to get stale. But part of me, though, it's a bit strange, because when season 9 finishes, there's a 2-year gap. And
don't forget EQ Equestria Girls, mate. That as far as we know, that's going to continue at least for another year. So that it may well still be doing Equestria Girls stuff next year. They are. Yeah, they are. I mean, apparently Equestria Girls stuff is planned much further in the future, because it's a separate thing anyway. They've now kind of taken Pony Twilight out of the equation. Now they've found Human Twilight, so there's no need to have that connection. And obviously, Sunset Shimmer has met Princess Celestia, and she's made anew with Celestia and apologized for the mistakes she's made, and that's that. So leave it alone, continue whatever. But I can't see it being going on for too much longer, because essentially Equestria Girls was following mainly the story arc of Sunset Shimmer and her development from being defeated in the first movie to her being a really nice person, and to what she's like now, and essentially being a big part of essentially the human version of the whole elements of harmony and everything. So that's pretty much, her story arc is pretty much completed. So I don't know what the future is going to bring, whether they're going to focus on other characters and kind of focus on their story arcs or what. But apparently this year we are going to be getting a 45-minute episode special again for Equestria Girls. So we're looking to get that this year, as well as season 9. And then apparently I've heard rumors there was going to be like a big proper movie like that we've seen before a few years ago. The last big proper feature-length film was Legend of Everfree.
Yeah. It was that. What was the last actual feature length? But apparently, I don't know how true it is, but apparently there's supposed to be a feature length Equestria Girl film as well coming out. But it's
that's been kind of in the rumor mill for quite a few years. There was like an initial rumor that kicked off, but by the time Equestria Girls was fully established, which was more or less after the 3rd film, there was a lot of rumour and hearsay they were going to do a feature-length film for Equestria Girls. Whether or not that's still in the pipeline or if it ever was has never really been revealed. But I think at the moment it's safe to say.
I know how popular the Equestria Girls universe franchise has become, but would it be popular enough for it to be, a theatrical release movie?
Probably not. What's interesting?
It might go to some cinemas that I have heard. But...
Well, what's interesting, Lawrence, is there is actually a bit of you could say, there's kind of like a subgroup within the Brony fandom, and they're purely Equestria Girl fans.
Yeah.
I don't really think they have a different name or anything, but there is kind of a subgroup which are dedicated purely to the Equestria Girl stuff. They don't really watch the MLP; they just watch Equestria Girls. It's kind of a fairly new thing, but I don't exactly know much about it. I just know there is kind of a group which are dedicated purely to that kind of world. I know some fans out there are lean a bit more towards Equestria Girls, and some lean a bit more towards MLP. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle with it personally. I've always seen Equestria Girls as its own thing, and it's just its own separate universe.
The first movie, it opens in actual Equestria because it explains how we get introduced to the Equestria Girls. Like Twilight basically travels into that dimension. She follows that villainess, who becomes the principal of the Council at High. And when Twilight and Spike follow her from Equestria, then Twilight becomes a human version of herself. And coincidentally, what's funny is that we never see the actual human version of herself that's already there, so there's no confusion. But in the second Equestria Girls film, they do speak to the actual version of Twilight that's there, and says, "Oh, there was a version just like you. There was someone who came who looked and sounded just like you, and she had a dog that looks just like your dog, which is her Spike."
Yeah, there's obviously a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm quite excited at the same time to kind of see what the future will bring. I mean, it's not been confirmed whether there's a Gen 5 happening, but I can't see Hasbro finishing at just Gen 4 and wrapping.
I know, obviously, what Hasbro have done is they've taken on franchises from other companies. Like, I've just had the first look, saw it on the other day at the first Hasbro Power Rangers figures. And they actually look really good. I mean, I don't know, with franchises like Power Rangers, it might make them even bigger now that Hasbro have got them.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently they're in the pipeline of planning another movie, but apparently they're talking about completely rebooting it, so it's not going to be a continuation of the last live-action film that came out that actually flopped, so it was a massive flop at the box office.
The problem with Power Rangers in general, lads, is that it's a franchise that is not.
It's a niche thing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, there are fans, but from a real perspective, the franchise is not huge. The series, especially the earlier stuff in the 90s, was very low budget. Even today, the newer stuff is still very low budget, and it still uses a lot of the Japanese hentai stuff. Hentai? Oh, about hentai? Bloody hell.
Sentai.
Senpai.
Super Sentai.
Yeah, it uses the Japanese stuff over anything reshot. And the issue with Power Rangers is when the film came out in 2017, I mean, when me and you went to see it, John, it wasn't very full. Not a lot of people went to see it. And realistically,
I went on the opening day. I went on the opening day in March in 2017, and there were quite a few people in the cinema then, but so we don't know if people saw the posters and the trailers just said, "Oh, it's a Transformers rip-off," blah blah, something like that.
Well, I don't think that would have been an issue. A lot of people know what Power Rangers is, but it's kind of the thing where I often do think to myself with Power Rangers, how many fans are this generation? You know, how many like 8-year-old boys are watching Power Rangers or know about Power Rangers? My guess, not many. I think most Power Rangers fans are like our generation.
Season Super Ninja Steel. I mean, I've seen most of it, but it is getting more kiddified, and you know that even though Saban have bought the rights back, that they haven't changed a lot of the things that Disney were doing. Or I suppose it's to keep it cheaper, but it definitely doesn't have the charm that it did back in the 90s when it first started.
No. Well, the thing is about Power Rangers, it's a niche thing. It's a niche thing. Many people know about it because because obviously you know many people know what Power Rangers is, but because it's a niche thing, it's when you come to make a live action movie, the only people that are going to be buying tickets will mainly be people of our age that grew up with it, from Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, etc. So they're the ones that will be paying money to go and see this movie. But from the outside, again, kind of like the everyday cinema goer, they will just be kind of chancing it, or they'll probably have looked at it and thought, nah, it's not for me, it looks shit. Because they've not really sampled what Power Rangers is all about.
Yeah, I don't deny that the 2017 film did have its issues, which was to be expected. I mean, it would be nice to see a sequel to it, but clearly, if there was going to do one, it wouldn't get the same budget that the first one did. And
no,
I mean, because they left it kind of open ended with the possible introduction of Tommy, so perhaps there could be one, but.
Well, the thing is that they haven't. Well, apparently, they're saying it's been confirmed, but from what I've been looking into, it hasn't been greenlit yet. It's kind of still in kind of conversation with the big CEOs and with the big, the executives of Hasbro, kind of like talking it over, because now that they've bought the Power Rangers toyline and everything from Saban, so. Hasbro now own the entirety of they own the toy rights, and also they own the rights to any future series and maybe movies and that. But basically, the very first, the first of the Hasbro era is going to be Beast Morphers, which is coming out some point this year.
The reboot of Beast Morphers.
Sorry,
reboot of Beast.
No. It's just Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and apparently
Beast Morphers. Yes, I remember. Yes, of course. I thought for a moment you were talking about Beast Wars Transformers. I'm sorry.
No. It's,
Beast Morphers. I know. Yeah, this is adapted from Go Busters Sentai.
That's right. Yeah. And apparently Go Busters as a Power Ranger series has been requested by fans for many years.
Yeah, because it's not last year's Sentai. It was a Sentai they missed out. They skipped it a couple of years ago because they didn't think it would do as well. I mean, don't get me. And the plot does look really good, because I remember the video I did when I first heard about it when it was announced. I remember the video I did, and the plot looks good. And what I've heard, just going a bit off topic, is that in the timeline, there's meant to have been a few years in between the end of, well, obviously Super Ninja Steel, depending if it takes place in the current universe, Super Ninja Steel. It probably does. There's meant to have been a few years where there haven't been any Rangers in between the end of then and now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the whole thing with the Power Rangers thing, like I said, it's a very niche thing. Just like My Little Pony is a niche thing. It's kind of the only people that are going to go and see this is like parents with their little kids and fans of the series. They're the only ones that are going to be paying money to go and see.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't go and see the movie. Obviously, for example, say if I was with you guys, I'd go with the two of you, but I wouldn't go and sit in there and watch it on my own. It'd be a bit odd, like, it was like, one bloke sat there with all these little girls and their parents. I think a bit odd.
Well, ironically, when me and John went, we saw it 3 times at the cinema. And but all 3 times we went to see it, I mean, in our cinema we went to, it wasn't that full. There was barely anybody there. The first time I went to see it, there was probably could have been more than 15 people in the cinema, and most were obviously parents with kids. But aside from me and John, there was definitely at least 2 of the Brony fans in the cinema because they were both about our age. It was kind of.
I wonder what the American premiere would have been like of the film. You know, them would have been
big. It was big, but that's the thing. I mean, it's America. Whenever there's a film premiere, especially if something that's kind of popular, it's always bigger than it is in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, back to the Power Rangers thing. I saw footage of the first premiere of the Power Rangers movie in 2017, and there were lots of our generation there with their kids and all dressed up as Power Rangers and stuff. But clearly, it just didn't do well enough financially on the whole. So.
No, it didn't. I mean, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the Beast Morphers. Power Rangers Morphers. It's just interesting to see because obviously I think it was partly still Saban. I think Saban kind of produced it, but obviously Hasbro have acquired the rights to it during the production.
You watched that video I did on Forever Red, the Power Rangers episode. Power Rangers Forever Red. I was talking about that. That episode that series was being made right in the middle of the production switchover from Saban to Disney, which is why that series wasn't so good because they had to go through several rewrites and stuff, and it was all in production at the time when it started off while Saban was still in production. It was in production while Disney were buying while they were taking over the rights, and so this probably could be the same thing. It's could be half Saban, half Hasbro opportunity.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be good. I mean, like I said, this is an English version of that specific continuity that the fans have wanted for a long time, and well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully, after Beast Morphers, it is literally going to be 100% Hasbro produced. So it's going to be interesting to see how much, if it changes, if it kind of is a bit darker in tone, or if they're going to stick with the formula that is very kidified and treat kids like idiots. Which majority of it does do that sometimes. I mean, I don't like Wild Force. I absolutely can't stand Wild Force, and I can't stand the majority of the stuff Disney did. But for you were talking about forever.
2003 time, the first full Disney series was Ninja Storm, the one after Wild Force, and there was a lot of hype, I think, all around the world when that was starting. There was these 10-year these articles in all the Fox Kids magazines and stuff, and the toys went on sale months before the series premiered. And I kind of liked Ninja Storm because it was different at the time, but I began to realise, clearly the Disney have cut the budget. They moved production to New Zealand because it was filmed in Los Angeles before, and I thought some elements of Ninja Storm were good. But when it was bad, when it wasn't good, it could be quite painful to watch.
Yeah, there is. Well, even Mighty Morphin's quite painful to watch. Even though I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but the problem is whenever I've gone back and revisited it, I'm like, oh my god, this is so bad to watch. But it's iconic, It's the first English version of that of the Japanese series and brought to America.
Even Mighty Morphin occasionally had episodes that were purely bad. But I certainly don't remember there being as many that I didn't like as there are when I've watched it now. In the past almost 15 years. Because I like all the way Mighty Morphin up to Time Force. A majority of the series and most of the episodes I did enjoy.
Well, yeah. When I was a kid, when I was growing up with it, I was just transfixed with Mighty Morphin, and
Yeah.
I can't remember if I watched every single episode because I'm not quite sure if it all, because there was a bit of when I grew up with it, it aired on Fox Kids.
Yeah.
But then, as time went on, it changed to Jetix.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I remember it when I was 4 or 5 years old when it first came to the UK, and you could only watch it on Saturdays when it used to be on GMTV Saturday.
Yeah, well, I remember watching like reruns of it on GMTV as well.
Yeah, I do as well. You know, when they'd have the even though they'd have a slot for the current series that was airing each day in the after school run, but then they'd also done reruns of the previous series, kind of at the weekends and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, when I kind of grew up with Power Rangers, it was kind of this. I was just transfixed. But the problem is with, like I said, with Fox Kids acquiring the rights and airing it for the first time, because it was Fox Kids that aired Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first, I believe.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, as time went on, Fox Kids phased out, and it became Discovery Family, I believe.
Yeah.
But we didn't have Discovery Family. But yeah, it became Jetix later on, and when that change between two channels happened, I think it caused scheduling problems for stuff that was still kind of going through. Because I can't quite remember watching the entirety of seasons and series, because I used to watch on Fox Kids. I used to watch Digimon. I used to watch Power Rangers, Beetleborgs.
Yeah, I did.
I used to watch Teen Wolf, I believe it was, and I think it was Teen Wolf or something like that. It was basically a crappy series about a guy who turns into a werewolf.
Was it Big Wolf on Campus? Big Wolf on Campus.
Big Wolf on Campus. Yeah, I mean, it was alright. But yeah, I mean, I used to watch a lot of stuff for Fox Kids, but then when it changed to Jetix, it became more anime centric because it was all about airing dubbed anime into the UK, and it kind of was following suit with Nickelodeon as well, because Nickelodeon aired Sailor Moon.
Yeah, well, I remember Sailor Moon was first aired on Fox Kids when I saw it, and that was in 1999. I think it rerun on. Originally, Sailor Moon came out in 1995, I think, but then Fox Kids started airing it in 1999. I think, as I remember it, because it was on after Power Rangers Lost Galaxy in the after school lineup.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember. The thing is that you got different channels that airing stuff because people are saying, "Well, I remember watching that on this channel," and well, I don't remember watching Sailor Moon on Fox Kids. I remember watching it on Nickelodeon. But I'm kind of guessing Nickelodeon aired it after Fox Kids aired it, so it was kind of like a contractual thing. It went to a different channel after it aired.
Yeah, because I think once Fox Kids became Jetix, they stopped airing Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I watched on Fox Kids was, of course, Power Rangers. I watched Beetleborgs, Mask Rider, and VR Troopers when it was occasionally on. I didn't remember. They only tended to show a movie 5-part special of the Quest for Power when that's when Ryan Steele gets his second suit. And then so I watched Digimon,
Shaman King. I remember that as well.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, things like there was Dinosaurs.
No, Shaman King was Jetix. Sorry, that was later. Jetix.
Yeah, what was the other one? I think it's like the Mortal Kombat TV series and like the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh yeah, I remember watching Mortal Kombat animated series. It's yeah.
So I used to be getting up before 7 o'clock in the morning on school days sometimes, because that's when they would air Beetleborgs on Fox Kids.
I used to get up Saturday mornings. I was up at 5 a.m. so I could watch Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, and Mask Rider, but they didn't start until 7. So for 2 hours, I'd watch at 5 in the morning. There was this science program on. And then after that, you had Mr. Motivator. And then had Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, and Mask Rider. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This generation do not have that. You know, our generation had, you know, getting up at the crack of dawn and watch your favourite cartoons. And back then you only had like 4 channels because Channel 5 didn't exist back then. And nowadays kids are probably, you know, I mean, I really do think to myself, you know, I think a lot of kids these days, depending on their age, are probably too busy playing Fortnite to really be
yeah, exactly.
You know.
If you think about it, back on Saturday mornings, like when they did GMTV did those runs of those 3 Saban shows, basically they kind of expect it to be like a 60-minute kind of. It's done to be, I suppose, to be like a 60-minute toy commercial. I say, oh, they can watch it with their parents and go, "Can you buy me this toy? Can you buy me this?" But most parents aren't going to buy their kids that many toys all at once.
No.
Because, like, even though the action figures for a lot of the Span things were good, but there wasn't really a lot you could do with them other than play like imaginary games with them. And it's like, you know, all the kids are just going to, you know, throw them around and stuff.
Yeah, true. But anyway, let's get back to talking about Bronies. We're talking about that. But
this is somewhat worth mentioning, lads, right? So, as someone's meant 2 things. Firstly, someone's mentioned that this 2019 is the year where all the good stuff finishes. So basically, the final part of the new Star Wars trilogy is this year. The final part of the Avengers is this year. The final John Wick film is this year. The final How to Train Your Dragon film was this year. Game of Thrones finishes this year. Star versus the Forces of Evil finishes this year. My Little Pony finishes this year. So basically, all the good stuff finishes this year. So somebody's mentioned something about MLP, which I think is worth mentioning. So basically, all said and done, Friendship with Magic will have had 9 seasons that totals 221 episodes, 4 spin-off films, several shorts, several specials, several spin-off shorts, about 2 complete comic book series, and 1 theatrical film. So that ain't bad. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to nip down for a cigarette. Is that okay, lads? I'll only be about 5 minutes.
No. Stay.
Quit.
Fine, lads.
Yes, quit smoking. But we'll carry on. I mean, I think it's safe to say Hasbro will definitely they'll have to say something about Gen 5 this year, at least some basic stuff on it, because I mean there must be some truth to it, because as I said, those leaks that happened like year before last, they were quite close to the mark. I mean, obviously they weren't too far off. I mean, the film is coming, but it's the year after. And you've got, obviously, season 9 is the final season. But I'm really hoping that there will be a Gen 5, but the question remains, right? How good will Gen 5 be? Will it live up to Friendship is Magic?
Well, that's a question a lot of people are starting to kind of freak out about, because it's one of those things is that Gen 4 was such a phenomenon from mainly it started up around about season 3, the fan base that started to kind of form around about that time, and it became such a big phenomenon. And became, you know, Hasbro never thought in a million years it would catch on that much, and and even the voice actors couldn't believe the look to be on such a popular series and to actually branch off to a point to have a theatrical movie, because most of because I mean I don't know, I mean it's just part of me really hopes they kind of stick to a similar formula. I mean, I don't. If it's going to be a separate series, if it's no longer going to be the Gen 4 characters, if it's going to be a completely new world, new setting, new characters, whatever, then I want it to be a little bit, I want it to be different. I want it to be a completely different spin. But at the same time, I want them to keep the heart of what made Gen 4 so popular. So it has to have values, good values for kids to understand, but it also has to be good enough so that boys and girls can both watch it together, and also for the fans, the Brony fan base, can get behind it as well.
There is that rumor, because when these leaks first came out, one of the kind of rumors circulating was Gen 5 would be a series aimed at a bit of an older audience. It would be aimed at like ages between kind of like 11 and 12. And the other rumor was that it would be aimed at a little bit higher, between 12 and 13, and would be an online series only. It's too early to tell. And at the moment, I can definitely say that in the next 6 months, we're going to have a ton of information, mainly about the future of MLP. So watch this space, really. That's all that can be said about that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, personally, like I was saying, I'm actually quite excited to see what the future brings. I mean, obviously, we don't know too much about this movie that's coming out. I mean, all we know is it's been confirmed by Hasbro it's a prequel, but at the same time, people are saying it's not a prequel, it's a standalone movie. So what the hell is it? Because when I went back and I read the article that was talking about the movie on Equestria Daily, and also they kind of followed up on it as well the next day with a little bit more information. And from what I could gather from it is that it got announced a bit later on that it was a prequel to 2018's film. And I thought, oh, if it's a prequel, will we finally get answers about Celestia and Luna? Will it be about them? And, that kind of thing. Will it be about their background as characters and where they came from, etc.? Will it be finally giving us that kind of a background on those characters? But then people are saying that apparently it's got nothing to do with Friendship is Magic. It's actually a standalone movie. If it is a standalone movie, then maybe this movie's going to set up the Next Generation series. Or is it a prequel to the theatrical film? And are we finally going to get some big answers for that we want? But they're having to kind of put it into a movie format because there's maybe it's a bit too expensive to do in a series environment. Because we're talking that I think the average episode I think is like about nearly 5 or 6 million per episode to produce. It's quite an expensive series, is My Little Pony, mainly because of the type of animation they use.
Well, it costs about 300 grand just to make the episode. I mean, that's not including voice acting, pre-editing, all that. Just to do the initial episode, it's 300 grand.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I reckon if you add in the wages of the voice actors, then add in post-production, the music, the editing, it probably costs nearly $1 million to make one episode.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame. It really is. I mean, part of me really thinks. I mean, the way my head works, I don't like it when things finish odd, like on an odd number, because I just kind of think to myself, well, couldn't you have at least made one more season to make it 10? That would make sense. A perfect 10. That would be perfect. But I can see why they're finishing at season 9, because it's celebrating the 200th episode in season 9, which is a big landmark for a series. And I'm hoping that if they're finally, if that guy that you said about the writer that's come forward about season 9, saying that it wraps everything up brilliantly, are we finally going to get those much needed answers that we need to certain characters? Are we going to finally get a bit of a backstory about Celestia and Luna? Are we going to see more development with Spike? Is Spike going to stay with Twilight, or is he going to go to the Dragon World and become what he has to be? Basically,
I can't see him doing that. I just don't think that would really match a character. As I said, I'm just interested to know the origins of Spike's egg. I mean, you know, how did that come to be? Where did Celestia get that from? Because obviously that was Twilight's test in a way, his graduation test. It's like, where did the egg come from? Was it found? Was it given to Celestia? You know, it's never really revealed just where it comes from, and I feel like I just want that answer. I want to know who are Spike's parents, and on that case as well, who are Scootaloo's parents? Because those two characters, I think, need that question answering, and that would kind of complete them as characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, or will Spike settle with Rarity?
I don't think. I mean, as much as I know a lot of people want that, I don't think they'll ever really go down that kind of route. Because at the end of the day, you're kind of saying, at the end, a baby dragon settled down in a romantic relationship with a full adult pony. Yay! Yay! You know?
Not incest.
Yay! Paedophilia! That's basically what it's pretty much saying if you do that.
Yeah, but essentially, with him being a dragon, wouldn't he be a bit older in years?
Well, there is this kind of theory that even though he's referred to as a baby dragon, there is kind of a theory that he's actually about possibly like 13, 14.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right, the writers said that we're not going to get like big ass relationships. It's not gonna go down that road. It's going to just mainly, you know, follow the main characters. But it would be nice to kind of get a bit of closure on a few things that we've been asking for so goddamn long. I don't know. I mean, all I'm asking for is that they respect the fan base, like I know they do, and give us a much-needed and great ending to what has been a fantastic series. I mean, I'm looking forward to that movie that's coming out, whether it's a prequel or it's a standalone, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Equestria Girls as well, because once the pony side's out the way, they might be able to put a lot more emphasis into Equestria Girls a bit more and kind of really push the final couple of years with it. Because they've only just started season 2 of the web series on YouTube for Equestria Girls, and then apparently there's a 45-minute episode coming out later on in the year, which is kind of the next part of the story arcs. Because I'm kind of guessing we're going to get 2 45-minute specials with season 2, because we did with season 1. Because season 1, it started with the Forgotten Friendship storyline. Yeah. And then it went into Roller Coaster of Friendship later on, before the end. And then I kind of guess they're going to do the same thing with season 2. Excuse me. You know what? To celebrate the end, I think I might get myself a fucking Rainbow Dash tattoo right there so my dad can see it. No, I'm joking. No, but my dad will probably just never talk to me again. What's that? It's a Rainbow Dash logo. What the fuck's Rainbow Dash? She's a pony. Pegasi, actually.
To be frank, the thing is, in a lot of ways, some people are, as I said earlier, are kind of taking this a bit hard. Yeah. It isn't going to cause the fan base to collapse. No. And I think, don't forget, like we said, obviously, we've still got EQG, we've still got Equestria Girls, we've got this film coming out literally 2 years' time. and obviously there'll be Gen 5, whatever that'll be. So the franchise isn't going to die. It's just it's the current generation's ending. And although I do kind of agree with John, it would have been nice to see it as a 10th season.
Yeah.
To end it on, round it off on a decade. But there'll be reasons why they're ending it now. There'll be reasons.
Well, yeah, there will be reasons, definitely. But no, I'd have preferred it to have been, because the problem is that we've got I know, like what you said earlier, Sam, is that we've got Equestria Girls that's still continuing, but when it comes to the pony side, we are going to have nothing for 2 years until this movie comes out in 2021.
Well,
and
we'll have Equestria Girls stuff next year, definitely.
Well, no, yeah, Equestria Girls is a separate thing, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's still MLP related.
It is, but it's now called Equestria Girls. They've kind of ditched the whole MLP thing now. It's
not saying My Little Pony Equestria Girls on the title anymore.
Well, it does, but what they're doing is, they've kind of reworked the logo, so it's more emphasising the Equestria Girls. So they've kind of, it's based upon the whole MLP thing, but they've made it its own thing. So they've kind of like restructured it a little bit. But I know we've got our Equestria Girls. What I'm meaning is the pony side with the actual ponies and everything, Equestria, etc. Yeah. We won't have any of that for 2 years until this mystery movie releases. But I'm guessing we'll find out more details on that movie probably at Comic-Con later on in maybe June, July.
Yeah, likely.
Maybe a month before TFN. But no, it's a shame because obviously My Little Pony. I mean, it's been a big part of my life since 2013-14, and I've enjoyed every single minute of it. I never thought in a million years I would sit down and watch a cartoon series about a bunch of girl ponies in this magical world. I mean, personally, I've never been a fan of magic. I've never been a fan of that kind of magical thing. I mean, I don't like the Harry Potter stuff. Sorry to people out there that do. I mean, all power to you if you do like Harry Potter and that. But I hate Harry Potter. I tried to read the books when I was the age of demographic when they first came out. I think I tried to read the first book, but it was too bloody big, and I thought too big, massive.
You watched all the film?
I've seen every film, yeah. I've watched the films, but I just think.
What? Did you say you thought the first book was too big?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember how big the
first book was. Not that long, mate.
No, it was the fourth book that was like literally, the bigger one. The first three are pretty much the same length, and then 4 they got longer.
Yeah, it's not very child friendly, though, is it? I mean,
but that was what was good. That's what I enjoyed. It was, is the fact that it started out, fairly family friendly, but it got darker as it went on. And then when you get to the bottom, at the end of it,
yeah, I know the story kind of got darker as it went on. But what I'm meaning is that, the books for me, I thought they're a bit too bloody big for a kid for a child franchise, really. I don't know. It just never appealed to me. Harry Potter. I mean, I went to see it with my mom. I went to see Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter with my mom. My mom obviously loved it because my mom loves fantasy films, and she grew up with like bed knobs and broomsticks and all that stuff back then, and Mary Poppins and all that stuff. She kind of grew up with that kind of generation, and my mom was always a big Disney fan, and obviously my mom took me to go and see The Lion King, which is the first film I went to see at cinema. And
amen.
Yeah, and she literally she loved every single Disney animated film that I had, and You know, she just loved it. She just sapped it all up, and she really. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I first went to see the first Harry Potter film, I was actually impressed because I was a young kid. But as I've got older and got grumpier and became an arsehole, I'm joking. I just don't. My opinion's changed of it because I just don't. I think as I got older, I kind of see the flaws in the films, and I just.
Did you like Lord of the Rings?
I don't mind Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I mean, I quite like mythical stuff when it comes to adventure, mythical stuff. I know there's magic in it with obviously with Gandalf and that, but it's not really about that. It's more about the elves, the little guys, kind of going on an adventure. It's about them. It's not really more. It's not really centered around magic, even though there is magic in there. Yeah, I like the Lord of the Rings films, but I just never been a big fan of Harry Potter because it's all about wizardry and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, all power to you if you're a fan of that stuff, but I just never. I think as I got older, I'm sick of seeing them because they're always on bloody telly, and just Daniel Radcliffe is annoying. He really is annoying.
Well, you don't like him as an actor?
I don't. Well, I don't like him as an actor. No. Even though I did like it, there's a film he did a few years ago where he actually did a flawless American accent, and that is the only film I was impressed with him in. Everything else.
Well, I've seen him on stage a couple of times. I've seen him in the West End.
Oh yeah.
I first saw him when he did the play Equus in 2007, and then I saw him in an Irish production, of an Irish play, he was good. I mean, my mum, we have a friend who actually worked in the film industry. He's pretty much retired now. His son's doing it, and he worked on all the Harry Potter films as a video editor. And I got to go to the set and everything, and that was good. Yeah. While they were filming the Deathly Hallows, because even though it was actually split into two films, they were filming them both. Well, they were filming it all as one movie, and then just split it in half when it came time for release.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why. I can see why it's such a popular thing. You know, the books captured the imagination of millions of children all over the world, and hats off to J.K. Rowling. You know, she created an incredible world to get kids to read and everything, which is brilliant. But for me, I don't know. I mean, I've never been a big reader, to be honest. I've struggled with understanding words and.
Yeah, what I do when I want to read a book is I actually listen to an audio book because I'm kind of like that as well. I listen to audio books because I don't get frustrated with the reading and trying to make sense of the sentences and stuff. I can just imagine it when I listen to an audio book.
I used to have like audio book things when I was a little kid. When I was little, I remember I had a Toy Story one. I had a Toy Story one. I had a few different versions. They're on the cassettes, and they came with like little storybooks as well. But I remember just like listening to them without the storybooks. Kind of imagining it.
It used to say on the tape, "You can read along with me in the book." I'm like, I don't know what the point of that is. We can just listen to you.
Exactly. Yeah. God, wouldn't it be great if we could go back in time to those simpler of times?
I think because I had at my aunt's house, even though I had Aladdin on video, she had an Aladdin audio cassette that I used to listen to when I was there, which was good. So it used audio from the film.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, I've been thinking about. Well, I can't at the moment because I've actually cancelled a few things to try and figure the money down a little bit, coming at my monthly payments and my monthly going outs and such. I've only got like my Netflix and Spotify because I love my music, so I've got Spotify and Netflix still going through monthly, but everything else I've cancelled, which including Amazon Prime at the moment.
Yeah.
Basically, once I kind of have a little bit of money saved up and or hopefully get myself into a job or whatever, I would like to start looking at what's that app that does audiobooks? Audible, thank you.
Yeah.
I want to start doing an Audible thing.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to audiobooks on YouTube. I mean, I play one when I go to bed every night because that helps me to relax and sleep. I just eventually drop off to sleep. The strange thing is, talking on Harry Potter, I recently started listening to Harry Potter audiobooks again, so I could remember, I could feel the stuff clearly that they didn't actually put in the films.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about Pony-wise before we get too sidetracked with stuff, or are we about covered?
Well, the dates for PonyCon have been released, but at the moment, it's probably very likely I won't be able to do it.
All right.
I'm booking my TF Nation tickets next week, this week, I think, on Saturday. So. Are you all booked for that? Have you booked your tickets, Sam?
Yeah, I have got my ticket booked for TF Nation. I'm not to rush you, mate, but I am still waiting to know how much I'm going to owe you for the hotel room.
Yeah, but what I've done, mate, is my dad's going to book the ticket in the hotel next week because he can't do it while he's in Poland because his internet connection is not very good there. And then once we've done that, so I should let you know probably on I should be able to let you know hopefully on Saturday.
Yeah, just drop me a message or something, mate. There's no real rush. It's only February, but obviously I just need to know how much I owe you.
You owe Sam, Lawrence, £25,000 plus interest. Don't know how.
Now we're looking at something like something just over 200 quid, something like that.
Oh yeah, I was kind of guessing that anyway. Yeah, speaking of ponies and stuff, it does say a lot where you look at on YouTube, where you look at like a lot of the songs from the MLP, you look at some of them and think, good God, I mean like the Cafeteria song from
I love that.
From the very first Equestria Girls films. Yeah. That's got 116 million views.
Yeah.
We got something to say.
What else? Then you've got like a lot of the Kieran.
Yeah, something that's very unique about the movie, and is another big cause probably of the Brony franchise, is its music.
Oh yeah,
it's pop orientated music, but the songs tell stories, and they're really relatable with the stories. It's like I was watching the start of season 6. I was on where Cadence and what's his name have now had their baby, and the song that I think there's a song that Rainbow Dash sings in the episode. I can't remember.
I can't remember that actually.
Yeah. And to me, I think like characters like Discord. I mean, he's like the comedic sort of naughty villain. He's not like a full-on bad guy. He was introduced as a bad guy, but he's still like the mischievous good guy.
The whole idea of Discord is the god of chaos, really. So he's kind of, the whole idea of him is that he's very mischievous. He's not really evil.
Yeah, he reminds me of that parrot in Aladdin, Iago, who was Jafar's minion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I just hope it doesn't kind of, with it ending, I'm just hoping that a lot of the creative types that make music and artwork and all that, I hope they still stick around, because for me, it's the music based around and like inspired from the series, and also kind of people doing covers of certain songs from the show, etc., and the movies, that really keeps me interested and keeps me watching and tuned in.
Yeah.
Even with it ending Friendship is Magic, I'm kind of hoping that a lot of those YouTubers still carry on making content.
I assume a lot of that will probably carry over into Gen 5, because I assume it will be quite successful, if not as successful as Friendship is Magic.
Well,
I
can guarantee Prince Whatever will probably do some sort of tribute song to commemorate, to basically kind of say something to like commemorate the fan base at the end of season 9. I know he's doing an animated music video for Solidarity, which I love that song. That's going to be released sometime in October, I think, or October, November time. But I think he'll do something big for like ending it all for the final. But yeah, a lot of the people out there that do music and stuff, they'll keep doing it. They won't go away.
I'd like to probably make a couple more. I'm getting better and better with my music now. I'll probably try and make some more pony related tunes.
Yeah.
I often think to myself, like 20 years from now, will the Brony fan base, will it still be a thing? Will, there'll be like loads of people in the 50s still meeting up, still reminiscing?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. One thing, my Build-A-Bear Tempest Shadow is going to be buried with me. So.
Yeah, I think most of my Build-A-Bear MLP stuff is probably going to be buried with me as well.
I think I can guess what's going to definitely be buried with Sam, or it's going to be in his crypt. He's probably going to have a crypt of all the stuff surrounding him, and it'll be heavily fortified so no one can get in. But I can kind of see that...
You've got a copy of Past Sins.
Yeah, I can kind of see Past Sins will certainly be kind of on a pedestal with kind of, you can hear like archangels going, oh, and then but you just can't get in, and then you can
pretty much,
and then you can kind of see there's like a poster just above Sam's coffin with a big flip off finger, like fuck you, you can't get in.
Yeah,
and there's me still alive somehow, and then I somehow managed to get in and nick it and put it on eBay. 2,300 version. I don't know what that would be back then. I don't know. Yeah. I remember freaking Sam out once. Basically, I went round to his house. This was flipping years ago, actually, and he'd been working hard on some sort of story, and he left it on his desk, and then he went out. I don't know what he went out of his room. Then, as I heard him come back, I picked it up, and I went, "Hey Sam, is this important to you or what?" And he just looked at me and said, I just went like that, made the sound, and he's like, "No." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna rip it. There you go." You should have seen Sam's face. He thought I ripped his story up.
Oh, you're still writing your fan fictions, by the way.
I haven't written anything MLP was for ages.
I've got, the thing is with me, I've got quite a bit of drafted. I haven't touched it in ages. The thing is, like nearly a year ago, I said that I would get on and complete some stuff I've been working on, and a year later, I still haven't. 2 years ago, I said I'd do an effort to finish my MLP fan fiction, and I haven't. The thing is, Lawrence, I've got like 2 other MLP fan fictions drafted that I want.
I need to get back on mine because I'm now almost in the middle part of the story, but yeah, I'm now where they're going to enter the alternative question. I've got to that point, but I just haven't really had the time because I'm now getting more into my video making with YouTube. So I've got this fantastic new machine with all these apps that make it available, which has made it so much easier. Because now I can do real editing. I can do, and I've finally been able to make my uploading process time. It still takes a few hours, but but that's just something I can take time with while the video is uploading to YouTube.
Yeah. Well, at least this way, guys. Whenever the next continuity of the My Little Pony franchise cartoon series, at least the Bronies UK channel will be there ready from the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a really good point.
Because
generation.
I kind of wish we started this YouTube channel when we first picked up the series. That way, we probably might have a bit more traction on this channel. I think because we're so far near the end.
Yeah, but mate, don't forget, when you and me picked it up for about a year, neither of us spoke about that particular thing. Neither of us, you or me, knew that we were watching it. You know, we were watching it without telling each other because obviously we didn't know how the hell either one was going to react. And then, like, a year later, just out of pure sheer luck, it's like, oh, you watch it too. So, you know, if that had been different, then yeah, we probably would have started doing this a couple of years prior to doing it now. But, you know, we can still do it. Yes, I have 2 videos I want to get done for the Brony channel this year. I am going to do my best to get them done. It's just time. You know, I don't really have time in the week to do it. And at the weekends, I just end up doing something else.
Yeah.
I always try and do it when I'm off because I've got my next actual week off isn't until June, so I've got a couple of months to go. Really, about 4 months till my next week off. But I really should try.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh. All right.
But yeah, I definitely say. I mean, who knows? I mean, in a lot of ways, whatever Gen 5 will be, we will be essentially the first generation of Gen 5, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what will be good. Hopefully, I can get fully caught up on Friendship is Magic before it starts.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, mate. There's going to be at least.
I'll be able to start the generation with everyone else.
I'm sure you will. I mean, there's probably going to be, I reckon, a two-year gap at least until Gen 5, because obviously Gen 4 finishes this year. Then I think Equestria Girls will finish up probably next year. Then you'll have the film in 2021, which I think will very likely, I believe, might act as a bridge, possibly starting Gen 5. So yeah, I reckon then you'll be caught up easy.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, you're not the only one, Lawrence. I mean, I'm behind on season 8. I need to finish season 8, and then I need to watch Roller Coaster of Friendship as well for Equestrian Girls, and then I'll be all caught up. But I'm actually, well, we'll just see how it goes. Unless I just see when season 8 is going to be released on DVD box set and just buy it and watch it that way.
I need to really get more. I've only got the first 3 seasons on DVD.
I've got seasons. The only box that I've got is season 6. It's not yet out in the UK, so I had to get it. I got it from America for my birthday.
Kind of run out of things to talk about now.
We've actually got someone commenting at the moment. All of a sudden, basically, someone called the Gamma Gamer, and it just says the end. Just because it rebooting doesn't mean it's the end. Besides, Generation 5 concept art looks amazing. I've been a fan for 2 months and have seen all through season 8 3 times over, and all the movies and specials, and heard the fan songs I've been busy. You definitely have.
I really did like the Christmas special. That was really good.
Yeah.
Have you watched that yet, John?
Christmas special? No, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I've got that as well. I've got that.
No, I've not seen the Christmas special yet, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty cheap to get hold of anyway, so I probably might pick it up.
It's like $4.99 at HMV. I mean, I assume because it's an MLP thing, they'll sell it whenever they get copies in and not just at Christmas.
Yeah.
The Gamma Gamer says, really? I hated the Christmas special. No, each to their own, I suppose. I mean, I've never watched it, so I can't comment.
Well, to Gamma Gamer, welcome to the fan base, mate. You're never too late to join.
Yeah. Well, it's up to you guys. Do you want to maybe start calling it a night, or do you want to continue till about past?
I'm happy to give it 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have to give it 15.
I don't know. Just we're trying to find things to talk about now. That's the only thing. Yeah.
I mean, about Gen 5, I mean, some of the things, I mean, yeah, the artwork for it does look quite incredible, though, if I'm correct, I think some of the leaked artwork for it, some of it's been kind of proven to be basically concept art for the film, the 2017 film, and it's not yet confirmed by Hasbro just, you know, how much of the leaks are genuine for Gen 5, but like you said, John, I reckon that'll get probably officially revealed in San Diego Comic-Con in the next couple of months.
Yeah. So this was my first introduction to the franchise. Was the first Equestria Girls movie. This was before I had Netflix. Before I saw the theatrical movie. I mean, it was mainly because of what you guys were saying about it. So I thought, well, I'll check it out. So I went into Argos and just bought this for $5. And I watched it. I thought, well, yeah, it's actually quite good. So,
I think the thing about MLP that attracts a lot of people is it's probably one of the few modern cartoon series that isn't a pile of mush.
No.
You know, a lot of the modern day stuff is just not entertaining.
I mean, yeah, for example, like, you know, and other than the anime, a lot of the things that Netflix are doing, like the Netflix exclusive, really aren't that good. And
no.
What have they done? They've done that Spirit series, that free Spirit riding thing, and they've done that bloody knockoff of Power Rangers and Transformers. I only watched one episode of. It's called Mini Force.
Oh yeah.
Give me that any day. Have
you watched that
film?
Have you watched Mini Force, John?
I've watched maybe a couple of episodes. Well, watched like one episode. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I've not watched that, Sam. I've not watched The Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron.
It's a damn good film. I'm on the boat with everybody like DreamWorks. Why have you never done a sequel? Or why the hell did you do that awful Netflix series and not do a sequel to that film? Because that film is awesome.
The Gamma Gamer's continuing. Basically, he agrees Equestria Girls is good, and yeah, it is. And he also, this person says, I just wish there weren't so many plot holes. Hey, I hated one thing about season 8, the plot twist. I mean, Cozy Glow, etc. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Well,
yeah,
a lot of ways, I've always felt like the Cozy Glow thing. Bit of a spoiler alert, but I've always felt like what the overall thing that they imprison her in Tartarus was a little bit extreme. I mean, it seems like the whole concept of the show is kind of like forgiveness whenever the main villains get defeated. And in this case, it's like Starlight Glimmer effectively nearly destroyed the timeline and enslaved an entire village of ponies and is ultimately just forgiven. Cozy Glow, realistically, she didn't really do a lot that was evil. She she kind of went a bit power crazy, but that was about it. And yet, for some reason, she's imprisoned forever, despite the fact Starlight Glimmer is just ultimately forgiven when she did far worse things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a little bit of an odd one, that. It didn't quite gel up to how the show normally works. But I'd be interested to see if Cozy Glow ends up being a main villain in the final season in some bizarre way.
Still no sign of seeing Tempest Shadow in the series.
Who knows? Maybe she'll show up in the 200th episode.
Yeah.
Or some point season 9, yeah. Well, we don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, the reason why she's not come back is because they can't afford Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And the same with the guy.
Clearly, the movie would have had a much bigger budget than the series does. So.
Well, I really hope that they bring back Kappa. At least bring back Kappa. I don't care about Grubber or Grabber, whatever his name was, because he was shit in the movie. But as long as they bring back Tempest at least one more time, and I'd love to see Kappa come back. I mean, and also Princess Sea Star, whatever her name is. Is it Sea Star?
Oh,
from Sequestria.
Is it Starswell?
No.
No, bloody hell, Prince Starfire.
No.
Bloody hell, it's annoying me now. What the hell is her name? 2 seconds. Skystar, that's it.
Skystar, that's right.
That was it, Princess Skystar. That was just annoying me that I couldn't remember her name.
I'd like to see her come back one more time as well.
She technically shows up in an episode of season 8 because there's an episode where they go back to the Mount Ares and they go into Sequestria as it's known, and they go into the Sea Pony Kingdom. You do see her in the background with Queen Nova, but they don't do anything. It's kind of
she's in the background. It's not really to say hello.
I know.
No. I mean, all she has to do is just simply just go, "Hey guys," and then fuck off again. I don't know. That's her character anyway.
I mean, you never know. In the 200th episode, they might actually have all the characters from the film show up. It would be pretty interesting.
Right, this person is still continuing. Thank you very much, by the way, Gamma Gamer, for getting involved.
Joining us.
Basically, he says, right, yeah. Basically, this person says, yeah, forgiveness. That should be an element. Yeah, I guess so. He also says, honestly, I thought she was Queen Chrysalis. I actually thought that myself. I thought she was Chrysalis just in a young form. Then basically, then I was like, what the hell? What the fuck, whatever. Then I think Spike needs to not be a baby this time, a teen at least. Hey,
I remember the episode where he got Discord, changed him into the big bad monster dragon. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
That was quite funny. Maybe they should have a version of him like that. It wouldn't be cute, I suppose he wouldn't be as cute, would he?
No. Then they come back saying, hey, in season 8, the sea ponies can willingly transform, so why couldn't the M6 in the movie? I don't know what that means.
No, the sea ponies in the film, they can transform between sea pony and their hippogriff forms. The reason the main 6 can't do it is because basically there's the pearl that Queen Nova had that kind of gave them the ability to do that. Each member of the sea pony race or the hippogriff race, however you want to refer to them as, has a tiny bit of that orb now in a pendant around the necks, and that allows them to control the transformation. I mean, technically, to be completely fair, Twilight could probably come up with a spell easily to allow her and her friends to do that transformation. So, yeah, that is a good point to bring up.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I would like to see a bit of a time skip between season 8 and season 9, actually. That would make a bit more sense. Kind of maybe Spike's a little bit older. They're all a little bit older. Maybe it's kind of been a few years since Twilight's school of friendship has kind of been going on, and or I don't know. I mean, the thing is as well with it ending at season 9, is that what's the point of bringing out these brand new characters like which is essentially like the next generation? What's the point of bringing them together?
Well, the theory about them, about the new main 6 as they're dubbed, there's a theory that they're going to be the effectively Gen 5 main characters. There's a theory about them that they're Gen 5 main characters. I mean, to a certain extent, you could say that their storyline was completed at the end of season 8. But yeah, the thing is as well, I've got to admit, if there is one main weakness about MLP, and I will say this because I personally do think it's a weakness, and I know a few people that have the same kind of theory. The main weakness of the show is they will introduce new characters, and then that character will never be seen again. Like Cheese Sandwich, basically the male equivalent of Pinkie Pie. He's only really been in one episode. He's not been seen since, apart from in the film where he was very briefly seen. But it's kind of like the show's primary weakness. They introduce new characters and then they never bring them back. You know, they only started bringing them back around about season 7. You know, like the Yak, they showed up a lot because they were quite key. But there's a lot of characters I want to see again, and they've not shown up. You know, they've shown up in one episode.
Yeah. Well, all I care about is just to see whereabouts the whole Spike thing. I mean, I've really despised the idea what some fans think that Spike is just a pet. Is their pet? And
No,
he's not
a
pet. Another series.
He plays as big a role as the main 6, so
he does. But what I mean is that people are like, the series is called My Little Pony. It's about the ponies. I'm like, yeah, it is about them, yes, but Spike's there for a reason. You know, what's the point of putting him in there when he's got no point of being in there? There has to be a reason why he's there and why Celestia entrusted the egg with Twilight to begin with. There has to be a reason, a bit of logic behind that idea. And now that he's finally got his wings and he's able to fly and able to kind of move about without the aid of Twilight anymore, I'm kind of thinking that he's starting to kind of become a teen now. You know, he's starting to kind of change as a dragon. And what's going to happen? Because I think in season 9 we might get a bit of an ultimatum. Because with him being a dragon, dragons, when they get to a certain age, they kind of like, the whole idea of a dragon is they kind of go on their own and start kind of make their own family and that kind of thing. And essentially kind of him having feelings for Ember as well.
Yeah.
I kind of think Spike and Ember could actually be an
I've seen the episode in the beginning of season 6 where he actually does go to the dragon world to earn his pedestal, well, something. He defeats like the big thing, and that was a good episode. So,
well, time will tell. Really, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you, John. To be fair, I think a time skip would be appropriate because I feel like even if it's just a couple of years, maybe like 3-4 years, it would allow you to, I suppose, develop the characters and have them a bit older and be a little bit more developed. I mean, you know, this type of thing would have been planned out in advance anyway. But as I said earlier as well, I do think it needs to end with some sort of little tribute to the fan base because I think that's deserved.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess it's all up in the air. We can speculate till the cows come home, pretty much. But
yeah,
we'll find out when it airs, I suppose. Where the kind of the route of it's going. So Gamma Gamer's coming back with more stuff. He asked a question for us all. Favorite ship? Personally, I don't really do the ship stuff, but anyone got a favorite ship they can think of?
The pirate ship from the movie.
No, as in relationships. I'll be frank, I've never really fully followed it myself, but if I did have one, the only real ship that I've ever really liked, because I've read quite a lot of fan fictions into it, is Twidash. Basically, Twilight and Rainbow Dash. That's kind of my favourite one, because it's the only one that I've ever really read into from a fan fiction point of view.
You dirty, dirty boy. What would your mother think?
So the only one I'm really I mean, yeah, there's Cadence and what's his name?
Shining Armour.
Yeah, Shining Armour, yeah. That's a good relationship because they ended up having a baby out of it. So
yeah. Basically, I'm going to go with what Gamma Gamer says. I think the whole Flutter Chord is a good one. Basically, like maybe some sort of relationship between Discord and Photoshop. Yeah. Right, so basically he's a bit against, well, he's basically, that's it, molting dragon puberty. So yeah, obviously he's getting older, and that's what he goes through in season 8. And it says no time skip is against this person's against the whole time skip thing. But like I said, it's just speculation. We're not saying it's gonna happen.
They probably wouldn't do a time skip. I mean, I think it'd confuse kids if they did a time skip.
yeah.
But time will tell, though. They've never done a time skip before, so it wouldn't add up anywhere. Just speculation, I should say, really.
Well, essentially, you could say there is a little bit of a time difference between the movie and season 8 starting, because you basically see that Twilight's kind of filling in Starlight Glimmer what happened in the events, even though she was there and she probably witnessed it all happening, but yet they decided to kind of link it together with Twilight kind of filling her in on what happened, and this new pony that they this new, Temper Shadow, and and then she kind of said she's gone to kind of discover herself, and that kind of thing, kind of like a journey of discovery, etc. Yeah, and the Gamma Gamer says, just the last thing that this person said, they just need to find an emotional way to close the series. Well, yeah, what they need to do is they need to kind of structure it. They need to. I think some stuff needs to be answered, some plot holes, some things that fans have got problems with that they've never really touched upon for a while. They need to try and see if they can bring a bit of that back and finally just wrap it together. Yeah, and the Gamma Gamer says, I love Flutterbat as well. Yeah, I love Flutterbat.
I love Flutterbat's awesome. I'd like Flutterbat to show up again, actually. I won't mind to see it.
Or a vampire version of Rainbow Dash. That'd be interesting. Well then, guys, I think it's just gone 11:30, if you want to call it a night, because otherwise we're just going to be kind of like thinking of stuff to talk about the more that we go on. But anyway, so I think we'll bring it to an end. So, thank you to the
Gamma Gamer. It's been nice to have a chat with someone watching. So thank you to Gamma Gamer. Thumbs up to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Gamma Gamer, for getting involved, and for your comments, and thank you to my co-host Sam and our fellow good friend Lawrence for joining us for this. Conversation of season 9 being the end and talking about the possible prequel / separate movie that's coming out in 2021. So yeah, thank you very much. And just to end note, just to say, look, Gen 4 is obviously finishing this year, but it's not the end as people may perceive it as.
It will continue.
The fan base will continue. The show and the spirit of the show or whatever and of Gen 4 will continue with the fans, and just I mean, for what I'm going to do is when it all ends, I'm probably going to finally start buying all the box sets, and I'm going to probably go back and watch it all from the beginning all the way through.
Yeah, I think I'll have to do that because I've had quite big gaps in between watching some of the series. And Yeah. That would be a nice, relaxing thing to do, I think. Sit back and watch the entire Friendship is Magic series.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a great journey. It's been, watching the show and following the progress of the show since 2013 when season 3 finished airing. Basically, ever since then, it's been a big part of myself and Sam's time, and we've really come to love the characters and the world and the series, and it's kind of it is upsetting to think that this one door's closing, which is Gen 4, but at the same time,
one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm really looking forward to see what the future brings for whatever Hasbro decide to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we will bid you all farewell. Thank you again to get the Gamma Gamer for getting involved. The Gamma Gamer asked, do we have the Discord app? No, I'm not a part of Discord. I am actually considering it, but I haven't actually got one at the moment.
I've been thinking about it, I'll admit. I know about it. I know a lot of people use it. I just haven't got around to setting myself up on it.
No, I haven't. I know it's free to use, I suppose, but I've never really gone into that. But anyway, thank you again, Gamma Gamer, and thanks to Lawrence and Sam for joining us tonight. And
great to talk to you guys, and thanks to all the Bronies who dropped in and watched us. And once again, Gamma Gamer for sticking with us.
Let's just do a quick shout out to Gamma Gamer, just to let him know if you want to keep an eye out for any other chats that we do. Subscribe to Bronies UK. It's the best way.
Yeah, please subscribe, my friend, and we will be doing plenty more stuff, regardless of Gen 4 ending. We will be still making videos based around it up until the movie in 2021. Yeah. We're also talking about Equestria Girl stuff as well, because that's continuing. So, but yeah, so thanks again, Gamma Gamer, and thanks to you guys for joining, and we will see you very soon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay.
Night, everyone. Take care. See you all later.
Yeah.